what my co-host was trying to get to
I was in a
far too
rush.
quickly. The best part of the show, the top 10.
Yes.
We each give our top 5 opinions, and then we rank them going from 10 all the way up to number 1.
And guys, this will be mine and Hampton's favorite top 5 Lego sets that do exist. So, before we get into it though, I'm going to show you guys one more time in case you're just joining us. That's what you guys are playing for right there. So, keyword is choo choo. Make sure you're following. If you're subscribed, you're double entered. So, Hampton, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into our top 10, my friend.
All right.
So, you want to go first or you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So for round number 5, The Hobbit, An Unexpected Gathering. Bearded Turtle just resubscribed.
I wonder who that is. Who's Bearded Turtle? I have no idea who that is.
But yeah, for me, it's An Unexpected Gathering.
Yeah.
That's the very beginning of The Hobbit.
You're right.
Bilbo is there. He has the dwarves showing up one after another. And I'm sorry, for me, the cinematic, like the actual live action movie, was amazing. But for me, The Hobbit is the Rankin Bass animated one from like the 70s.
Yeah. Didn't we go watch
That's
that
what-
movie together?
No,
We didn't?
no,
I could have sworn we all went together.
no. I didn't get to see The Hobbit until like 2 years after it came out.
Oh, okay. Man, that sucks.
But I grew up watching the Rankin Bass version. I still have it on DVD at my parents' place.
Yeah.
And, I still remember all the old songs, Bend the forks and smash the plates. That's what Bilbo Baggins hates.
He always said, woohoo, a movie about walking.
You right.
That's Lord of the Rings.
Hey, they're both about walking.
That's true.
At least one of them has barrel rides.
They should have called it Bilbo Walkins.
So, what about you?
So my number 5 is Batman Legos.
Okay.
And I think it really just has to do with the fact that I love Batman. And like he's one of my favorite DC heroes other than the Flash. He's probably my second or third favorite hero.
That's fair.
Even though he's a vigilante, but that's for a different topic. But I really like the fact that he even got his own like spin-off movies too.
Yeah.
So he actually had a Batman Lego movie in theaters a couple years ago.
He's had 2.
Yeah, that's true. He's had 2 in there. So I just love like everything to do with the Batman Lego set because you have like the Batcave that you can build and put together, which I thought was awesome because it actually had like the little pods for all the other like Robins and stuff like that there too. You have the Batmobile that you can put together. You can put Robin and Batman in there together.
Nice.
You had the Batman jet, Bat Jet, I guess is what he called it. He called everything Bat. So the Bat Jet, which was really neat because it actually shot torpedoes out and stuff. Like
Missiles.
it was, yeah, missiles. You know what I mean?
Torpedoes go underwater.
Same thing.
No.
They make big boom.
Well, yes, you're still wrong.
Big boom either way. And there's just a lot of Batman stuff that was associated with Legos because it became so popular. So I had to put Batman Legos at number 5. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely up there.
That's fair. Now, I'm sitting here looking at your list, and aside from one thing, you just picked, like, a specific theme.
That's true.
Chump.
Yeah.
Well, guys, at least one of us is going to be specific. So moving on to the number 4 slot. For me, it is the Nebulon B frigate from Comic-Con.
Okay.
Now, this is a Star Wars ship. It's the big old Star Wars frigate that you see Luke on at the end of episode 5.
Right.
He's getting his new hand put on. That's a Nebulon B. Now, of course, the actual Lego set for this, I believe we actually have it in stock. It is a Comic-Con exclusive. It's not printed for anything other than that.
Man, if I would have known that, we'd have brought that on the show. Because I was looking through them and I was just trying to find like really cool ones I wanted to talk about. And I didn't even see that at all. So if we had it in stock, I wish you should have told me. I would have switched one out
I
for
didn't
it.
think about it.
That's fair. So Was that the only way you could get that? Was just go to Comic-Con and just pick that up there?
Yep.
That's actually really cool. That Lego even like
I
thought about
think that
doing
was
something
even
like that.
only. I think that one was specifically exclusive to the San Diego Comic Con.
Okay. Well, I like it. So I'll move on. My number 4, and you know I'm stuck with the theme, Lord of the Rings, like you did The Hobbit.
Sir,
Well,
I
okay,
specifically pointed out a specific scene.
You're that's fair, but Lord of the Rings has a lot of sets, and I couldn't just pick from one.
That's fair because there are a lot of really iconic moments that have been immortalized by Legos.
Yeah,
So that's fair. I can give you that one.
like I'm pretty sure that we have like 5 or 6 different Lord of the Rings sets back there. But
Yeah.
that was the one I wanted to talk about because that was like one of the better moments of the movies. if
It
you
really
ask me.
is.
So I was like, yeah, I've got to talk about that one.
Even the trees walk in those movies. You right?
Everybody's walking. But don't really know which set out of Lord of the Rings is probably my favorite. If I had to guess, it's oh man, I'm so confused about which one I like the most. Probably the war in the second movie.
Okay.
So
The Battle of Helm's Deep.
yeah,
That's
so
fair.
that's actually an entire set. Like you can actually buy the castle. It has like the ladders where the orcs are trying to go up it,
Yeah.
and everything like that.
I've wanted that set for the longest time. And now that I'm an adult and I have a paycheck, I can't find it anywhere.
But I bet you would buy it if you found it. 100%, right?
It mostly depends on how much of that green I have to be throwing out.
That's fair. By the way, Watson, I need to talk to you about that. Take her hero clicks. I know what you're doing, Drew.
Sir, this is our stream, not yours.
I know what you're doing, Drew. Don't you let him talk you into anything, Watson. Don't you do it. If you want that Taker figure, you keep it. He's just trying to get it off of you because that's his favorite wrestler.
So, of course, moving on to the number 3 slot, I'm staying real specific.
Mm-hmm.
And this one's a bit more recent, especially in Star Wars. The Razor Crest.
Okay. So I didn't even know they made one of the Razor Crest.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
So, we have a listing for it on the website. We're sold out of it for obvious reasons. The Razor Crest just suddenly became like the new Slave One.
Yeah.
Like, it became super popular
Right.
because of a Mandalorian.
Right.
So, I mean, I hate to say it, but this is the way.
This is the way.
But for me, it was just an amazing ship, and
Was an amazing ship.
I was super sad when it got blown up. I'm not going to lie. Spoilers for any of you that haven't watched, and I'm not sorry. You've had time. It's your own fault.
It was an amazing ship, just like Drew said. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed the ship too, because it associated the Mandalorian with who he was,
Right.
His ship.
He was a traveler.
Yeah, and I really liked all of his like compartments in the ship too.
Oh, yeah.
So like you had the one compartment where he would just put all of his bounties after he like froze them or whatever.
Yeah.
And just kind of slid them on in there. Like there you go.
His closet, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. But then when he ended up getting Grogu, is that his name?
Yeah,
Grogu?
Grogu.
Yeah, when he ended up getting Grogu, obviously Grogu got into a lot of mischief on that ship and started destroying stuff.
It's not so much that he destroyed stuff. He just kept getting into stuff that he wasn't supposed to.
Didn't he grab a gun one time and almost like blasted somebody?
Yeah. He also nearly choked somebody in that ship as well. But
Yeah.
So-
All right, moving on. So my number 3,
Uh-huh.
and that's just because it's close to my heart. Jurassic Park sets.
That's
so,
fair.
me being a '90s kid, and you are too, Jurassic Park was one of the first movies that really, I wouldn't say scared me. It was more of like, ooh, this is cool kind of thing.
It had you in awe.
Yeah, because it was dinosaurs. And
Right.
if you're a little kid, like you and I both were, dinosaurs were awesome back then.
Yeah.
They probably still are for a lot of kids. But the Jurassic Park Legos were always just really cool to me
Yeah.
because the one set that I can remember the most was the Clever girl. I like that. The one set that I remember the most is the Jeep scene.
Yeah.
Where the T-Rex is like trying to get through the Jeep. I remember I had that. Like
Yeah.
that was one of my favorite sets, and I played with a lot of Legos growing up because that was before they skyrocketed in price.
Right.
So I had that set. I got it for Christmas, and I would play with the T-Rex and stuff all the time. I think I literally just played with that set until like it just fell apart one day, and like that was the end of that.
And you couldn't get it back together because you
Yeah.
had played with it so much.
Yeah.
I know that.
I destroyed the toys.
Yeah.
But I love Jurassic Park. And they're some of my favorite movies. Actually, I did find the entire trilogy, not counting World, because
Right.
I like World, but not counting those. But I found the trilogy at Walmart the other day, and I was like, well, I'm getting it because I had to have it.
That's fair.
So
As an interesting side note, also on the note of Jurassic Park
Yeah.
and collectibles, Hasbro announced a couple days ago that they were doing a special crossover of Transformers and Jurassic Park.
yeah, that's what you were showing me before we went on live, didn't it?
Yeah, so the neat thing is that the new set that they have coming out, it's a 2-pack. It's the Jeep, like you were just talking about,
Right.
from, the bridge scene,
Right.
and the T-Rex. They both transform, and they can duke it out. It's an amazing thing. Obviously, the Jeep's going to lose,
Right.
but I saw that. I was like, that would be a nice little thing to mention.
I mean, compared to Jeep, probably about that big. The
Oh, yeah.
T-Rex is like this big.
Oh, yeah. So, guys, if you're curious, definitely get online, look it up. It's just Transformers and Jurassic Park crossover, and it should be super easy to find. Like, really cool stuff.
Yep. So, what's your number 3 or number 2?
So, for my number 2, we've already shown it off. The Council of Elrond.
Yeah. So here, I'll
Again,
pick it
for
up
me,
here.
like,
This. Wrong way. This.
that was too perfect for it to have been planned. It's the bad thing.
That really, I swear that wasn't planned. Swear that wasn't. I really picked that up backwards.
So for me, like, that is just one of the most iconic moments throughout the entirety of the trilogy.
Yeah. You have my sword.
And my bow. And my sax.
And my axe.
Yeah. But it's just one of those where everything comes together, and then lo and behold, the rest of the hobbits run in and they're like, we're coming too. And it's like, I mean, there was no way that they would not. And even Elrond just kind of assumed that they were going to go ahead and just defy whatever he said and go.
Yep. I like how Kelly said, and my walking shoes. You can have my walking shoes too.
Yeah, Harley Q knows what my number 1 is. So let's go ahead and talk about your number 2, then we'll get to my number 1.
Okay. So my number 2, and that's because I literally watched the series,
Okay.
is the Ninjago series.
Ninja Legos.
Yeah.
It's fair.
You and I both took martial arts. We both like ninjas.
Specifically, we both took, in the fancy slang, Bujinkan Budo Taijutsu.
Yep.
In the layman's terms, ninjutsu. We actually have a dojo here in southeastern Kentucky that we both went and learned at. Now,
Yep.
unfortunately, I've messed my knee up too much to practice anymore. I still remember most of it, and like you can see it whenever I'm getting up out of a chair or I'm down on the ground on my knees having to do something, and I go to get up. I'm still using a lot of the same body movements.
Yeah. And I pretty much just quit going because I started working here. Work took up a lot of time, and they do their sessions like while I'm at work. So
Yeah.
I can't go in there and do it. So I would love to go back because it was really interesting to do.
Yeah.
And I just like the fact of being able to say I'm a ninja.
Yeah.
Like I'm learning the actual arts of the ninja. But Ninjago was actually really, really cool because it actually kind of like talked about like ninja arts and like all the really good ninja stuff that was associated with it.
Right.
So it made sense on why they made it an entire series because they actually used a lot of stuff that we learned
Right.
in that series. And when I watched it, I was like, oh, this is some lame kid show. It wasn't. It was actually like they were teaching you actual art and the actual like ways of the ninja in that series. And I was like, that is actually really cool. That's neat.
We're talking more like philosophy and ideas rather than actual, I can make whirlwinds.
Yes.
Superpowers don't exist. Trickery, however, does.
Like
We've
that-
learned how to do some of that
And
stuff.
like Kelly said, being a ninja doesn't pay the bills.
Man,
I mean, depends. If you're a hitman, it pays the bills. All right. Get into your number one, and then I'll get into mine because I know you got a little thing you want to talk about. Or do you want me to get into mine and then you talk about yours?
let's go ahead and get into yours, then we'll talk about mine. Because
Okay.
mine actually has a bit of a talking point to it.
I like how she's just like, yay.
Yeah, I don't think she entered the keyword once. I think she's just been active in chat, and Nightbot was like, you know what? Here you go.
Nightbot's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
It's like,
The Nightbot giveth, and the Nightbot taketh.
it really does.
So we'll leave it up to you, Miss Harley Q. Would you?
If you want to keep it, Harley Q, you can. But if you want us to re-roll it,
Oh, she's already claimed it for little Josh.
Okay. So just gonna give it to her kid. That's completely understandable.
Yep.
So my number one is Death Star Lego,
That's fair.
and that one was actually specific.
I'm proud of you. So the Death Star is honestly just a really hard set to find anymore. Like
Yes.
personally, I would love to have a Death Star set, but
When I looked at the pieces for
Yeah.
it, it's like 4,000 pieces.
yeah, it's one of the bigger sets. There's only like 3 that are bigger than that.
Yep.
One of them is the Super Star Destroyer.
Yep.
The other one, the second one is like Slave One,
Yep.
like the Black Series.
Right,
Slave One,
right.
Because that one is like 6,000 pieces.
Uh-huh.
And then I think the Black Series Millennium Falcon.
Yep. I like what Kelly said, looking for Alderaan. Looking for loving Alderaan places. Get out of here. But I really enjoyed the Death Star one because not only is it a lot of pieces,
Right.
you know, the Death Star is actually an enclosed planet, and you can open the Death Star up, and you can put like all your stormtroopers, your generals, everything in it the way you want.
And the thing is, it has some of the most iconic locations of the Death Star
Yep.
as the interior whenever you open it up.
I think Palpatine's palace is like somewhere in the top
Oh,
of
the
it.
throne room?
Yeah, it's like throne room.
Nice.
And like if you get the Palpatine figure, you can actually just set it right there in his throne.
Now, I do want to point out something interesting with the Death Star.
Yeah.
In that, with the Death Star set, Palpatine's throne room was never in the original Death Star.
Yeah, I
It
know.
was only ever in the Super Death Star.
Mhm.
So,
Which is weird that they put it into the original Death Star Lego set.
I guess in the case of people that want to go ahead and collect it anyhow and have Palpatine in
Yeah.
it, because there's no way they're going to make a Super Death Star
Right.
set. If they do, then oh my god, that's
there
going to be
was-
like 10,000 pieces.
There was one I seen, and it actually had Darth Vader kind of like kneeling down next to Palpatine.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's so cool. But anyway, we're kind of scrapping for time. So go ahead and get into your number one.
So for my number one, folks, Slave One.
Yep.
Now, this brings up the talking point that I actually wanted to talk about. I don't know if anyone's really been keeping up with it, but the newest version of the Slave One that's being released by Lego is not called Slave One.
Nope.
It's just simply called Boba Fett's ship. And turns out that Lego kind of let the cat out of the bag with that, and that Disney was trying to get away from the name for that ship.
Yeah.
And it's mostly because of the negative connotation. They don't want to be associated with any type of bad ideology, like slavery, for instance. Now, that being said, think about the time when the ship got named,
Yep.
and think about how many times the ship's name has been in film. I think me and you talked about it earlier, and you said Clone Wars was the only time you can think of.
Yep.
And we're talking Clone Wars, the series. This has never been on big screen where it's actively been called Slave One. It's
Yeah.
only ever really been in the expanded universe,
Yep.
namely the books.
And the one time that they actually call it the Slave One on the Clone Wars, they just briefly mention it.
Yeah.
And that's just because that's just because that's when he's learning to actually fly to Slave One after
Right.
Django's death, and he's learning to fly it. And they're like, "What do they call this ship anyway?" And some guys was like, they called it like Slave One or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's the only mention of it throughout the whole series.
But it turns out that it was a big executive decision, and it just kind of made its way on down through the system to go ahead with that. Like any action figures for Leia, like the slave Leia,
Yeah,
she's no longer referred to as slave Leia.
Yeah.
It is prisoner costume Leia.
so weird.
Yeah, and I don't get it. I really
mean,
don't. Like, I can understand why. What I don't understand is why people are so upset that they're changing the name of it to
Yep.
try and get away from a negative connotation
yep,
versus the people that are getting upset because of the people getting upset.
right,
I think this is another one of those entitlement issues that you hear about, in that I will be upset on your behalf, even though I don't know what you're going through. I don't know your problems.
Right.
I don't know what it's like to be in your shoes. That is currently a big issue. I majored in philosophy in college, guys. I can rant on this for weeks. I'm not going to. So we're going to try and rank this real quick.
All right, so number 10,
Okay.
and just by looking at this list, I'm going to hit myself.
Okay.
I'm going to put Batman in there.
Okay. I
at
would have
number
hit
10.
Ninjago, but
Well, I was thinking Ninjago number 9.
okay, that's fair.
So, Batman Legos number 10. Just because it's Batman and everything else on here, it's
If
kind
we're
of seems
talking
a little
like
bit more popular.
The whole Lego Batman series,
Yeah.
then yes, I completely agree with that. If it was like traditional Batman and all that, like full DC,
Right,
then I would be like, no, that has to be higher.
right.
But in the case of Lego Batman, hey, Kelly's trying to get your attention.
I think he's yelling at me for putting Batman at number 10.
That's fair.
And yes, Batman, clean out your desk.
Oh, you fired, son.
It ain't my desk, though. It's technically yours. I just work from it.
But yeah, so in the case of 9 and 10, I can agree.
Yeah.
Ninjago at 9. Yeah, we know. Drew, we know.
The only reason I'm putting Ninjago at 9 above Batman is because Ninjago literally touched base with the whole ninja history.
Right.
And they were actually really good about touching base with that history.
Right.
And-
Whereas the Lego Batman series, the whole idea behind that character is I'm amazing. Everything has to start with Bat.
Yeah.
And kind of, sort of, in a not really kind of way, it's awkward.
Is Batman technically a ninja?
So, not
Yes.
necessarily. Because keep in mind, the League of Shadows,
Yeah.
all of them have learned all of their stuff from traditional assassins.
Right.
As in Assassin or Hassan.
A song. Yeah. I get that. So technically, yes, kind of a ninja, but not really. So,
Middle East Ninja.
all right. So number 8, since we got number 10 and 9 out of the way like that.
Okay, so for number 8, I am going to go ahead and say The Hobbit, Unexpected Gathering.
Okay.
For me, that's just one of those moments of I can always look at that and I feel my childhood all over again.
That's fair. Have you ever seen Batman Ninja?
I've
It's a good
not.
movie.
I need to.
I haven't either. Oh, I need to watch it too. I heard it was good though.
Oh yeah, I heard nothing but amazing.
All right. So number 8 is The Hobbit. Then I think I will put number 7. Oh man, this is kind of hard actually now that I look at it. Number 7, I'm gonna put Lord of the Rings.
Okay,
So we will have Hobbit and then Lord of the Rings after that.
and then of course, I kind of have to go ahead and say with number 6, just go ahead and put the Council of Elrond.
That's fair.
Simply because we've already got Lord of the Rings at 7.
Yeah.
And that versus some of the more iconic things we already have on this list,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard not to.
Right. So okay, what are we on? Number 6?
Going to number 5.
Number 5. Okay. I'm gonna have to say from looking at this list, number 5 will probably have to be the Nebulon.
So I was actually going to go ahead and say the Nebulon for
Yeah.
5, and my reasoning is, Okay, if you were to take and look at what's left on the list, if you had to choose between the Nebulon or the Razor Crest, which one are you going to pick? Well, it's going to be the Nebulon,
Yeah, it's
simply
gonna be the
because
Nebulon.
nobody knows what a Nebulon B frigate is, unless you're a massive Star Wars nerd like me, or you play a lot of old school Battlefront
Yeah.
and Squadrons. That's the only way you'll know.
So-
Whereas the Razor Crest, they talk about it in almost every
Right.
single episode of The Mandalorian.
So, literally, Kelly's upset right now. He's upsetting his spaghetti.
Solely because of
'Cause we
you
put-
putting Batman so low.
Yeah, and Ninjago are above Batman.
Big oof.
I had to. I watched Ninjago. Batman series Lego was kind of goofy.
I mean, that was kind of the point.
Yeah, but
Is that it was meant to be a goofy departure from traditional Batman.
that's fair. So number 4.
So for number 4,
I'd about to say Jurassic Park
yeah,
because that still ranks it high, but it don't rank it above the other stuff. Neither.
right.
We're getting new host.
Oof. Oof.
I'm changing the name of the show. He is very upsetting in his spaghetti.
It's okay, guys. I agree with the coup.
Aw.
But so yeah, for number 4, I can totally see Jurassic Park. For number 3, the Razor Crest at this point.
Yes, yeah, 100%.
Because at this point, it's not quite as iconic as like Slave One or the
Right.
Death Star,
Right,
but in its own right, especially for the new expanded universe,
right.
for what Disney is doing, it has become.
A very iconic ship.
I was going to say their flagship, but
That too. Flagship, iconic ship. Either way. Shout out to Wild Man Gamble. I don't know Wild Man Gamble. So this brings us to number 2 and number 1, which are both great choices.
depending on what you say, I'm going to fight you right now.
Okay, so I completely believe that number 2 should be Death Star.
I have no complaints.
And the only reason I'm saying that number 2 should be Death Star
Mhm.
is just because I feel like the Slave One is a little bit more of an iconic symbol in Star Wars.
So, if you're not even looking at it from the Star Wars side, if you're looking at it solely from Legos,
Yes,
think about which one has had more printings.
Slave One.
There's been like 2 Death Star.
Yeah.
And off the top of my head, I can think of like 7
Yeah.
for Slave One.
Yeah, Slave One definitely is.
The most iconic one being like the Black Series one.
Right.
Which, interesting side note, the Black Series is like the special collector's line for the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
They also did it for Lego, with there being Vader's TIE Fighter, Luke's X-Wing, Slave One,
Yep.
and the Millennium Falcon. The 4 most iconic ships.
Yep.
And like when it comes down to it, I want that Slave One so bad. I had a chance to get it for about $250 about
Oh,
3 years back.
Should have took that offer.
I should have. And I regret not doing it now,
Yeah.
simply because I looked at it about a week ago, and that thing's already over $1,000.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's expensive now. The Death Star's expensive too.
Oh yeah.
So we both agree put Death Star at number 2, Slave One at number 1.
Yep.
Okay. Slave One at number 1. That sounded weird to say.
Well, that's why it has that 1 in its name, because it is number 1.
It is number 1.
Interesting side note, the specific model of ship is a Firespray 31C police cruiser. It was made by Kuat Drive Yards as a type of experimental ship. There were only 3 prototypes made. Jango Fett came in, stole 1, destroyed the other 2, stole the plans.
Wow.
He sold the plans to 2 other Mandalorians. So they took and had their own fire sprays made.
Yeah.
So there are 3 fire sprays in existence.
Wow. That's interesting. I like that.
I know way too much about Star Wars, guys.
He does, but that's why I keep him around, because he knows a lot about some things, and he keeps me in line. So,
All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and wrap up here.
Yep.
We've gone a few minutes over. Thanks for sticking around for us.
yep. So I'm gonna go over shows real quick, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap up because we have gone a few minutes over from our normal time.
Yep.
So tomorrow we do have Drew's Poke Shop.
Yep. I think he's getting back to Pokemon Murder House. Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, something like that. Pokemon Murder House. I mean, Snap. So make sure you guys stick around for that. I'm pretty sure he's got some good giveaways for that too. He's got some packs or something. So hey, get some packs. Get in there tomorrow.
You know he's probably going to have him some Chilling Rain.
Oh yeah. Maybe Chilling Rain, maybe some Battle Styles because that's a good set too. So either way, you know, great set for tomorrow. And then right after that, around 6 p.m., we have Standard with Logan and Kelly. And they always teach me a lot about Magic, Hampton, because I don't know anything about it.
I think those two are actually going to be talking about some adventures in the Forgotten Realms this week.
Oh,
We've had
really?
some new spoilers come up. I'm super stoked because Mimic deck happens.
Yes. So make sure you guys stick around for those shows tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we have the next round of Troll versus Toad with DBZ Fighters.
Yep.
So you going to put your hand in that?
Nope.
You're not going to get in
I
that?
have told everyone that I literally only wanted to go on TVT for Halo.
That's fair.
And I got cheated out of a championship because rocket launchers. Because somebody doesn't know how to fight with honor.
I don't fight with honor. I fight for glory.
I feel like that one should have been between me and Kelly in the long run. So, Kelly, if you ever want to take me up on a challenge, throwing down the gauntlet.
You told me it was a collectible show anyway, and I get in here and we're playing Halo.
It's fair.
And then right after that, we have TNT Tactics with this man. This guy right here.
And Palmer.
And Palmer.
Hopefully Palmer is not, still sick and dying by then. He came in this morning. He sounded horrible. He wasn't here yesterday, and he went home. Sounds like he has a light touch of pneumonia from what the doctors are saying. So we wish him the best. Hope he gets better.
Man, how ironic is that? He goes and gets vaccinated for COVID, and then he ends up getting pneumonia. Poor guy.
It's because of all the allergies and stuff.
Yeah. But then right after that, we have Josh Hampton again with Happy Little Works.
Yep. I'll be continuing to work on the Azure Rathalos, also known as, at least the model itself.
Is that the dragon?
Yeah, the Gargantuan
I
Red.
love that dragon. Yeah.
I'm painting up as an Azure Rathalos at someone's request. She wanted back during, I believe it was our second episode of D&D.
Yes.
So
I know she's been asking for it for a while.
yeah, and I'm finally getting it painted up for her. So
And then on Fridays, we have Magic with Logan, or Jeremy, probably Logan now.
yeah,
So we have Magic with Logan at 2 p.m. Eastern on Friday. And I'm not really sure what he's got planned for that show yet. He's probably just going to play some arena because
Yeah.
that's what he normally does. Maybe getting some shenanigans like we did on the last episode.
yeah,
And then right after that, we had the Yu-Gi-Oh! Super Show
yep.
with JT. And I think they're going back to normal time, going back to 6 p.m.
I don't know yet for sure.
I think that's what Kelly told me yesterday, that it
Okay.
was going back to normal time. So if I'm wrong, correct me, Kelly, but I think that's what he told me, that they're going back to 6 p.m. I think that's just like a one-time thing.
Right.
And then on Saturday, we got a new location for D&D.
We do. So we're going to be at the Williamsburg Game Cafe. I
Yep.
think that's its official name.
Yeah.
Okay, so Williamsburg Game Cafe. We'll be starting a little earlier than usual. Be running from 5:30 to 8:30, and that way we're not all driving home when it's getting super dark outside. There's still a bit of light,
And it's
all that.
holiday weekend, too.
Yeah, and it's holiday weekend.
So that we kind of want to get home before like everybody starts shooting off fireworks and stuff like that.
Or getting drunk and just driving wherever they feel like.
That too. I don't want to deal with a drunk driver on Saturday. So
So, of course, guys, if you're going out and having fun this weekend for 4th of July,
yes,
by all means, do so, but do so safely. Remember, your fellow man out there wants to get home to their family just
Yes.
as much as you do.
everybody wants to get home safe and everybody wants to get home to their families. So don't do anything crazy. Don't do anything stupid. If you go out and you get intoxicated, call for a ride. Somebody will pick you up.
And on that note, also make sure firework safety. Guys, be really careful about that. Make sure you have level ground to be setting it up on.
Yep.
And no animals are nearby.
Don't do what my uncle did one year and almost blow his fingers off. That legit almost happened one year. My uncle almost blew his fingers off.
You know, in the case of like your family, that doesn't surprise me.
I'm the normal one. I promise.
On that disturbing note, guys, we're going to go ahead and call it here.
Yep.
This has been C&H Collectibles.
And that's the H. I'm the C. And I'm Chris the Collector. And Hampton, you got any cool names yet?
No.
Oh, well, this is Hampton. And guys, like we said, be safe this weekend. If you need a ride because you end up drinking a little bit too much, call for a ride. And Hampton, you know what I'm going to leave us off with?
What's that?
Everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome.
It's been a nice Toys Day, guys. Come back and see us next Toys Day.
See you guys. Take it easy.